Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my front row spot at a concert to someone claiming to be disabled? A couple of weeks ago, I traveled to another country to see an artist I've been a fan of for 6 years. This was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me, and I'd been waiting months for it. I sacrificed a lot financially and mentally to make it happen. Since it was my first, and probably only, time seeing them, I went all out. I bought GA tickets and arrived at the queue at 5 a.m., even though the doors wouldn't open until 6:30 to 7 p.m., in freezing cold weather. I waited all day, hungry, cold, and dehydrated, but it was worth it because when the doors opened, I secured a front row barricade spot, right up against the stage. This was my dream spot. Then, a guy behind me tapped me on the shoulder and told me he was disabled. He said the venue was supposed to let disabled attendees in early, but they hadn't. He asked me to give him my spot at the barricade. Here's the thing, I know this venue is very accommodating for disabled attendees. I actually have friends with disabilities who've gone to shows here, and the staff always ensures they get to the front row safely during a designated time frame before it gets too crowded. Now, I'm a very short person, 155 cm 5'1" inch, and this guy was extremely tall, easily over 5.5. If I gave him my spot, I wouldn't be able to see anything at all because he would completely block my view. I honestly would have been willing to move if he wasn't so tall or if I could still see from the second row. However, in this case, I knew I'd lose the view I had waited more than 10 hours for. I tried to compromise. I pointed out that the right side of the barricade was still open and suggested he go there. Since he's so tall, he'd still have a great view and could hold onto the rail for support. However, he refused, saying the view wasn't as good as where I was. While we were talking, that section filled up and he became more insistent. He said he'd have a hard time if he couldn't take my spot. At this point, I got frustrated and explained. If his disability was that serious, he should be in the accessible section, which is specifically designed for attendees with disabilities. If he insisted on being in the standing section, he should have brought a support aid, like a cane. I'd seen someone nearby with one. If he spoke to security, they could escort him to the front row disabled seating, which has a fantastic view and is much more accommodating. After hearing this, he called me an asshole, told me to get fucked, and left. I feel like he just wanted my spot and wasn't being truthful. The venue offers several options for disabled attendees, and I tried to direct him to alternatives. I feel bad for saying no, but I don't think it was fair for him to ask me to sacrifice my entire experience. So, am I the asshole? I find it strange that he zeroed in on you and only you, and he didn't ask or demand anyone else move. Not the asshole. Yes. Sounds like he thought he could intimidate her. Yet Predator Prey didn't work out for him. OP not the asshole, and Hope concert was all that was hoped for. Especially when the person said I don't want that spot. I want your spot, get fucked, poser. Seats taken. Right, he wasn't doing it for accessibility, he was doing it for what he also thought was the best view possible. He's entitled for sure. Surprising also because with his height, he could have stood behind OP and have had a perfect view. Not the asshole. As someone who is disabled, I call venues ahead about the accommodations I need, and it's usually worked out for me at no charge here in Washington State in the US, a seat somewhere so I can sit and enjoy the music. The seat is reserved with my name on it, and I have to show ID to get it. I am not sure what the man's disability was, but he should have asked venue staff for assistance rather than trying to force the issue with you. My mom needs a wheelchair to get around. She can stand and walk, but only short distances. She has also become a huge fan of a band and goes to see them whenever they're somewhere nearby. She defiantly will call venues to ensure they can accommodate her and will pay extra if needed to get the seat she wants. Not the asshole op, you are most likely right that this guy was making up the whole disabled bit for pity seats, since someone disabled is well aware of their limitations and will go the extra mile to make sure their outing goes off as smoothly as they can. And if he wasn't lying, then that's on him for not getting in at the proper time. Very telling that he wanted your prime spot and didn't take the options you pointed out when they were available and instead wasted time arguing with you. Not the asshole. The moment he didn't want the other spot to the right you suggested, because the view from your spot was better, made it clear he just wanted to grab the best spot from you. I had people try that with me in similar situations. I had waited hours and secured front row center by using their kids as blackmail. Didn't work on me either. If you come with your kid and think they need to stand in front row, make sure to come earlier. Don't shove your way to the front shortly before the show starts to try to guilt-trip people into letting you take their spot. He thought you looked like an easy mark. He could have asked anyone else around you, but chose not to. He could have taken the open spot too, but even said your view was better and he wanted that view. Not the asshole. As someone who has done the exact same thing to see my favorite band, he was scamming you. See it all the time. Along with, once the music starts and there's a push forward, these types will literally try and elbow, push, or crowd you out of the way. That's why the general stance is to stand with feet apart and cross your arms to rest on the barricade. Don't let go, don't stand back with just your hands resting on it. They look for weak spots to wedge in, so don't give it to them. LOL, yes, it's like a contact sport.